Okay, now we are in.
Hello.
Hey, Tati.
Hey. Hopefully,
We early, but it's good to be early. So
yeah. I know you
so we
can
won't be
hear me.
rushing. What you said?
You can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I just can't see me. I don't
Yeah, I
know.
can't see you either.
Well, oh, I think you have to wait till you invite me. Yeah, because
Um,
something like that. He said you're in the show. Everyone can see and hear you.
but you're in there. That's
Mm-hmm.
weird. Hold on. Um, Let me see. Nope. You sure your camera is on?
Mm-hmm.
Get out of. Okay, I'm gonna take you out and invite you again.
Okay.
Okay. Oh wait, no, now I can see you. That
Okay.
was weird. Okay. Awesome. All right. How you doing, Tatiana?
I'm good.
That's cool. That's cool.
Mhm.
All right.
I'm sorry, I didn't ask. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Hi everyone? Fred from Bayside, Queens. Good vibes. What's up, Fred?
Hey,
Nancy.
friend.
This YouTube should be in Garifuna and Spanish. Very informative. I will share this video on my Facebook page. Thank you, Nancy. That's a good idea. Some other people were suggesting that to do it in Spanish.
In Spanish, right?
But we could edit the video and add Spanish subtitles to it as well.
I think we can do that because I the thing with me is like I don't mind doing the Spanish. It sounds
Mhm.
very interesting.
Same here. Same here. But no, but there's a large Garifuna
I
population that
know
they
we
don't speak
can't leave
English.
them behind. We can't leave them behind.
Yeah, yeah. So maybe next time we could do it bilingual at least.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna get started. I'm gonna introduce myself for those of you who are just now. Garifuna Numada. I, Nancy, trilingual. So, what's up, everyone? My name is Audrey, and I am the creator of this channel, Then Came Roatan. I was born and raised in New York, Brooklyn to be exact. And I moved to Roatan in 2011 to take over my family business. And I ended up staying there for a lot of reasons. So today, I'm the creator of this channel. I am the director of the Garifuna Cultural Center in Punta Gorda, Roatan, which is my family's business. And I
Mhm.
also just recently launched my digital marketing business. So that's a little bit about me. And I'm gonna introduce my partner in crime, Miss Tatiana. This is our second session, y'all. If you missed the first session that we did together, I put the link in the description box below. So you could check that later. So Tatiana, go ahead.
Hey everyone, as Audrey mentioned, I am Tatiana, also known as Master Tatiana. I am what you call a brain education practitioner. I help people holistically manage their physical health, emotional health, and mental state. Sound like fun? It really is exciting. So I am on Instagram. I am known as Master Tatiana. I have one page that's Master Tatiana. However, I made a community page that is called Golden Garifuna Healing. So I just wanted that platform to kind of, support all the healers within my community that have been doing this work and have painted the way for us to even be in this time and space. So thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be here, and I hope you guys are ready to ask your questions and to give your insight. I really, really enjoyed last time. You guys made it so flavorful. So thank you so much.
Yes, awesome. So let me paint the picture for you guys. Today we are talking about finances in our community. Why? Okay, so this came up because Tatiana and I were talking about information that we could share with our community. And I mentioned that, man, I've been living in Roatan for 10 years. And throughout those 10 years, I've met so many other Garifuna people who were like, man, I want to do that. I want to go back home. I want to start this project. And some people actually do start projects, they actually do start businesses, then they stop. And I was like, you know what? We need to talk about this because there's nothing wrong with investing back home.
Mm,
But if there's one thing that I learned in these 10 years is if we are not strategic, if we don't plan, if we don't ask questions,
mm,
we are not going to be able to help our community the way that we want to.
mm,
And the first thing we have to do is take care of our home. It doesn't matter if you're in the US, if you're in China, Africa, if you got Ifuna, you need to take care of your home first, your finances. Because if your cup is empty, how are you gonna help other people? You can, but I guarantee you're gonna burn out. It
mm,
happened to me like 3 times throughout this 10-year journey. So I'm talking to you from experience.
mm,
So today we want to share information about how can we grow our money at home, how can we invest, what are some good habits that we can do so that it can help us to position ourselves
mm,
better so we can be able to help back home. And then there's that financial part, but then there's also this spiritual part, this healing that a lot of us have to do inside. And if we don't go through that healing, we're like literally blocking all of the abundance that's supposed to come to you.
ooh,
So we're going to talk a little bit about all of that. All right. So I'm going to pass it on to Tati so she can introduce our special guest.
yeah.
And then
All right, guys. So guess who we have? Okay, of course you don't know. We have Jamie Arzu. She's is Garifuna just like us here, but she comes as a financial advisor to really give her expertise about what we should be doing with our finance. How are we managing our money? We're going to talk about the importance on investing and things like that. But she's going to give, I guess, more details. I don't want to like talk too much on it. So is she here?
yes, she's here. I'm gonna let her in right now. Let me unmute her. Oh, Jamie, you're can you unmute yourself, please?
There we go. Hey
Yeah,
guys, how
there
you
we go.
doing?
Hey, Jamie.
My first time on YouTube. Sorry.
It's okay.
um, no, but hi guys. My name is Jamie Arzu. Like Tatiana said, I am a financial advisor. I'm also a CEO of my own brand. Who Are You? And we just like going way back. To be honest, I really want to thank you guys for having me on this platform, and just I do appreciate it. And thanks to the higher power as well, because who knows where we
Amen.
could be, you know.
Mhm.
But yeah, just diving into it. I want to just ask a couple of questions to the audience, and then maybe on later on we can definitely go into some questions, just to get everybody just going with thoughts. So how do we create financial stability? How do we produce generational wealth? We ask those type of questions, but then again, we don't actually necessarily put in all the actions. You know, to where sometimes we may struggle. And I personally feel like there are 4 different types of ways for us to become financially stable. And this doesn't matter whether you're in the US or in a different country. I feel like as long as you install in yourself that this is what you want to do and that you want to create that stability for yourself and for your family, you're going to practice that and push it on. So another question that I have is, how do we create emergency funds?
Mhm.
If we all didn't see COVID last year, were we able to live through that? Are we able to still live through it? Because this pandemic is going to last longer than what they're telling us. It's lasted longer than the year that they told us. So how do we create those emergency funds, and how much do we actually need for emergency funds? And this is not just the savings that you have for your personal goals to go traveling and all that. That's all fun and dandy, but your stability at home when you keep your lights on, What's happening on in Texas right now? Are people able to sustain themselves with all that horror that's happening? So those are things that I would like to talk about with everyone, and just have that thought in the back of their head, because we need to learn how to push on through, and create that mentality that it's the time is now and the time was yesterday.
Oh yeah.
Also, I know Tatiana said, though, I will definitely be touching on in investments. There's definitely many ways to invest. I'm huge. I love stocks. I'm not going to go into details because I can go on and on about stocks. But there's definitely multiple ways to invest. You have the stock market. You have property. You even have retirement. A lot of people are doing retirement through their jobs. But let's think outside the box, guys. When you don't have that job, do you still have your 401k, your 403b? Do you still have that retirement plan that can, sometimes it definitely does roll over. But then again, think about by the time that you get the next job, unless you have a full time, it's not happening quickly. It's happening 3 months within you being in a job. Anything can happen to you within that 3 months. It's not to say that we immortal. I'm not going to say that everybody, is something's going to happen to you, but we have to think that, anything is possible at this. We've seen it all. I know we've all been through our own experiences where it's just like, oh my God, that troubled me. That gave me anxiety. So let's try to prepare ourselves for that, so we can actually have the mentality to be okay and say that it's going to be okay, that, I can have it. There's a percentage out there that says only 90% of people cannot afford a $400 expense if it was to come up right now. Why is that so? Because we're literally moving paycheck by paycheck. We're living paycheck by paycheck. How many people can say they're living paycheck by paycheck? I'm sure it will be that 90%. And then, let's talk about securing ourselves. Everybody wants to secure our bag, start a new business adventure. A lot of people are becoming entrepreneurs, and I definitely want to give my applause to the Garifuna community, because I see a lot of things that are happening, and I am proud to be Garifuna in this time.
A lot of entrepreneurs.
Yes, a lot of entrepreneurs, and we're selling a lot of great things. And I feel like we are bringing back the culture. And I feel like we needed that, because it happens with us. It's only going to die out. Like I was watching you guys' live last time, and I was just thinking about it like, hey, like, yeah, that's right. Like, my mom didn't teach me Garifuna. I still don't know Garifuna. I'm still learning. I just had my dictionary. I had to buy it myself to learn.
Me too.
See, like, but with that aspect, how are we securing our bag? Like, how are we securing the fact that, we want to leave a legacy, because we do these things as entrepreneurs. We start our own business. We look at mom and pop stores all the time, but then that mom and pop that started that shop is still working there today. So how are we supposed to circulate our money so where our money working for us, where we don't have to kill ourselves 9 to 5, or pushing 12-hour shifts in our own store, pushing our own brand, because we also have to learn to ask for the help that we need. We are building a community even in this space right here where, it's time to network. It's time to say, hey, like, I'm building my brand. Let me see if I can also help that brand. So you can circulate your wealth, and open up a new chapter in everyone's life. And then you can actually say, hey, yo, by the time I'm older, my kids are left with something. They also have that education. That is creating that stability, that generational wealth, and that legacy all at once. So I just want to let everybody just think about those things. And then when we get to the questions, I would love to hear everybody's thoughts, and I can answer more and go more in depth.
That's cool. Thanks, Jamie.
No problem.
What's that echo? Can you hear it?
I believe it's actually my background. Sorry.
I heard you fine. Oh no, okay. It sounds good now. Thanks, Jamie. It's funny that you mentioned how we work 12 hours in our own business, and this is what I wanted. I have a question for you, Jamie. I've been studying entrepreneurship for a long time, and I know that the four stages of business owners, where you're self-employed, business owner, um, and the last step is to become an investor. That is my ultimate dream because that's when your money starts working for you. Can you share with us maybe one or two ways how we can start making our money work for us? Because Garifuna people have a strong work ethic, whether we're back home or we're here in the States. We know to work hard for our money, and that's great. But it's time for us to work smarter. So, can you share with us maybe one or two ways that we can make our money work for us?
Yeah, of course, there's a lot of ways that our money can work for us. One is definitely through investments. Um, so by investing into different properties, that you're already creating a huge asset for yourself. It's just all about doing that correctly. You can also invest into stocks. Use the money that you are building to invest into those different type of assets of different companies, and your money will grow through that. I would suggest more so going and speaking with a financial advisor before doing any of those things by yourself, due to the fact that those things can get complicated and you would have to do a lot of research behind it, because a lot of people start, what they do is just take all their money and invest it in those things. And then next, one of their side of their business collapse. So I feel like a lot of people just need to start, pushing out. If these are your goals and this is where you want to move, start talking to people that are actually licensed in these things so you can put it into that practice.
Awesome. Yep. I have another question, but
Okay.
Tati, do you have a question before I ask my question?
No, I'm okay.
Okay, and so my next question is, what if you don't have any money right now? What if all you have is money to go, like you said, living paycheck to paycheck? How
Mhm.
can we get started saving if we're always spending?
Okay, that's all about self, to be honest. And I feel like, as we're going into this healing journey, we need to start putting in practice, we need to be realistic with what we have currently. I think that's where we
Hmm.
need to start, because, you know, we go into these jobs saying, oh my God, I'm making this much. But then we're like, oh my God, I need to pay all these bills and I don't have anything. So the first thing to do is start treating yourself. Even if you're not starting a business, treat yourself like a business. Pay yourself first. Put that
Hmm.
first $50, $100 into your savings account, and then go ahead and pay your bills. Separate your how you're making your money to then pay your bills. Because then
Hmm.
you're building your emergency funds and you're still able to keep your lights. You're still able to pay your rent. A lot of people usually pay their rent on the first check, and then the rest of the utility bills are paid on the last, and it's still not enough so they could buy groceries for themselves. So just being realistic with yourself and just saying, hey, like, sometimes outside food is not going to help me this week because I got other things to do. So I think it's all about self, and where you actually want to do and what you want to push through.
Yeah.
Thanks, thanks.
Yeah.
We got some comments here.
Okay.
M MP says, "Do you all know about Ofrane?" I have heard about Ofrane. Do you guys know about that organization?
No.
No, I haven't heard of it.
So I know about that organization. They're based in Honduras. Miriam Miranda, she's the director. She's the head of that. She is like a modern day Barauda. I have so much respect for Miriam, the woman who runs Ofrane. They're actually sponsoring a program in Punta Gorda right now. They have a COVID center where they're doing natural herbs and medicine for people who may have COVID or just preventative measures. And
Mhm.
they're actually going to fund a project to build a center in Punta Gorda to do natural medicines and to plant and all that stuff. So Ofrane is a really awesome organization that they help our community on
Ooh.
the mainland. And they have some programs I heard in New York too. But yeah, I definitely know about Ofrane.
That is awesome. I love that.
Hmm.
That brings me back to the importance of investing,
Mhm.
in our communities.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So it's so important for us to see what our community is also doing,
Mhm.
getting out of that mindset of like, oh, I need to just focus on myself and just get ahead. But understand
Mhm.
even when you are kind of like seeing your community is also yourself, because your community, believe it or not, is a reflection of self. Okay.
Mhm.
So if you know that there's someone in your community that is using practical skills, I'll say practical skills. So you're not just creating out of fun, like, oh, I'm just creating because this is cool and I can do this and I'm great at that. But you're creating more from a place of practicality, right? When
Mhm.
I speak about spirituality, intuition, that is very powerful. And that's something that a lot of, Black and brown people in our communities as well have, that like big intuition. They could see things, they could hear things, and all that good stuff. That's all beautiful, but we still living in the same place. Like, what? How good is your
Mhm.
intuition then,
Mhm.
Yeah.
right? So
Mhm.
it's so important to really start to exercise being practical,
Mhm.
going back to the basics. That took me some time and I'm still working on it, but I realized that when I am practical, I can see my community better. I can see where I want to invest my energy and where I kind of need to okay, I'll just invest, I'll go elsewhere, right? So I like the fact that whoever left the comment said that, because those are things that we need to know within our community. Who's doing this? Who's serving? Who's giving back? Who's circulating energy?
Yeah.
I also like the fact that we're saying spending and circulation. So most of the people that I work with know I like revamp spending from them. Like as soon as I hear them say, I'm spending, I'm like, I tell them, nope, let me get that back. And so what I tell them is that we are circulating beings energetically, physically, emotionally. We are energetic beings. This is the reason why when we see people emotional, we can tell when they sad, when they angry, when they happy, when they joyful, right? Because we also have that same kind of energetic flowing,
Mhm.
right? So
Mhm.
when we have that understanding, we can take that spending mindset and release it, right? And then transfer it to circulation and then energy flow. So you just be open to things that within our community that people are doing in the mind that they use. Sometimes if I'm interested in investing in your company, what I tend to do is I will call you, I will ask you questions, I will see what you're doing, how you came up with this idea. Jamie knows I ask her about my brand all the time, like how you did this, and so her answer really is the confirmation that I need if I want to invest. And I'm always seeking to invest. So that
Mhm.
was really good. Whoever left that comment, kudos. Next.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
That was it says MP. Don't know your name, but thank you.
Thank
Fashion Exor, New York City. Hey y'all. Hey.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Um she also at MP, do they also do hurricane relief? They do. With the hurricane Eta and Iota in November or October. I think it was November.
you.
They had refugee how
Refugees.
you, yeah, refugees, for people who lost their home or who they were flooded. And so, yeah, Ofranet, for me, what I've seen in the past 3, 4 years is every time there's some type of crisis, especially when it comes to Garifuna land being like wanted to be taken over by the government or whoever, they're always there.
Yeah.
So yeah, personally, if I wanted to reach out to the Garifuna community as a humanitarian, I would speak to Ofranet as a liaison or middleman.
No,
Yeah.
that's great. And that's another way to invest too. Like that's like Tatiana said, not only you are reflecting yourself through your community. And
Yes.
a good way also to invest is through your community, going back to your culture, going back to your neighborhood and just like utilizing those services because you are circulating that wealth, you are circulating that energy where everybody feel your presence. Like this is you're helping, you're giving back, you know?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Um, Tatiana, I want you. to see when it comes to our relationship with money, and this is whether you're Garifuna or not Garifuna. I've been studying people like Tony Robbins and Robert Kiyosaki, and they always talk about switching something in your brain for you to be able to attract more money.
Mm,
And what I see, not just with our people, not just Garifuna people, but this is like people in general. If you read the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki talks about the completely different mindset that his biological dad had when it came to wealth creation, and his neighbor who was like his other dad. And so, Tati, you are a healer. You're a spiritual person. You're a holistic healer. What can we do to switch something in our brain or our spirits, especially as Garifuna people who we have this unique spirituality, as we spoke about in the last session? What can we do? How can we tap into that?
Definitely. Okay. So when it comes to money, it's also our understanding of energy. Yeah. From a practical level, it's called money. From an energetic level, a spiritual level, it's called energy,
Mm-hmm.
right? So many of us have the knowledge of money and of have the knowledge. We kind of like separate it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Money and then energy is two separate things,
Mm-hmm.
right? But in all actuality, it's the same. It's the same. So I always take us back to the body. And that's one of the things that we stress within our practice. As a brain education, we have like certain particular steps that we go through to help you reconnect back with your body, right? So if you have a ton of memory, this body is known to be like the largest brain you have. And it's known to be the largest brain that you have because it houses so much memories, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not only memories that we created in this lifetime, but memories before us. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
They call it DNA. From a spiritual space, they call it ancestry,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? But from the practical space is DNA. DNA. That's why we look like our grandparents. We look like this person. We act like that person. We act like this person. Even people we don't even know, they're like, oh, you act like that person, right? So we have a lot of information in our bodies and we don't even realize that unconsciously we are repeating the same behaviors, right? For we are repetitive creatures. We don't even realize
Mm-hmm.
it. We see certain things, habits from our parents that they will do, how they will save money, how they will hide money, how would they say they don't have no money, but in all actuality, they, have this belief, you know,
Mm-hmm.
belief. So the mental space that we're in, even if we tell ourselves, I am amazing, I'm great, I am rich, I am abundance, right? I usually tell people from a realistic standpoint, it doesn't work for adults to say that.
Mm-hmm.
Not at first. It's,
That's different. That's
yeah.
different for me because people always talk about affirmations, affirmations.
mm-hmm.
Say this. So why
Yeah.
why doesn't that work? Sorry, you could continue.
No problem.
Mhm.
So the reason why it will work for children, right?
Mhm.
Is because children don't have that preconception built up yet so strong, right?
Mhm.
So preconceptions are hardcore beliefs,
Mhm.
hardcore beliefs. That's why, I do have a spiritual teacher, right? And so one of the things that he says that our preconceptions are harder than a rock.
Mhm.
Yeah, are harder than a rock. It's hard to break it, right? So when children say, I'm strong, I am amazing, that's why they jumping and you could see them like, hey, you're gonna break your head. And they will still jump, right? But as when we start to develop, when we start to grow up, we have a ton of preconceptions, ideas, and beliefs that was passed on to us, right? That was passed on to us for our own protection. I won't say that they necessarily try to self-sabotage us at all. They just wanted to make sure that we were safe out in the world. So for us not to be going jumping off cliff, they said, don't do this, don't do that, watch this, don't go out on a rainy day, and things like that. So we created so many preconceptions that is deeply rooted in the brain, deeply
Mhm.
rooted in the brain. So that's why we end up that's why when you have habits, you can't really tell. You can't see
Mhm.
you in it, right? And so that's why we do need a community, because it's a community that's going to help you see you. They're
Mm-hmm.
going to tell you you're lazy, you're this, you're that, and you're going to be like, oh my God, but I'm not lazy. And then you're going to either believe it and just hold on to that, or you can see it like, wow, I didn't know I was lazy, or I didn't know I was really doing this, and then kind of break out of it, right? So one of the first things that we do with that is we do body stimulation. So in the practice, when you come to class, we do some cardio, we do a tapping of the body just to help the body kind of open up, right? And so through that is what we call stimulation of the body to wake it up. So once you start to have a sense of stimulation, you can feel your body. You start feeling where you was holding blockages and tightness and tension of the body. And so just to make a long story as short as possible, um, the reason why it's hard for us to use these affirmation, I am strong, I am great, is because we still have these very rooted beliefs inside. So when we start to move our bodies and tap our bodies and stretch our bodies, you start to awaken from these senses.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, right, that there are some people that they work out a lot. They go to the gym or they do yoga. They're very flexible. How come this is still the same for them? They moving their body, they're circulating, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's another thing that we don't practice as much, which is communicating and building this relationship with your body. You're just doing it because
Mm-hmm.
you're good at it.
Mm-hmm.
You're just good at it, right? So you need to be able to build a relationship with your body. Sometimes you're laying down on the bed and what you say, oh, come on, we have to get up. Who you think you're talking to? You're talking to your body,
Mm-hmm.
right? So even when you go to the doctor, I have people that tell me all the time, oh, Master Tatiana, I don't know my body. And I tell them, sure you do. I said, why you go to the doctor? Is it because the doctor called you and told you you have to come to see him or her? Or is it because you didn't feel well and you knew something wasn't right, and for that reason you went to the doctor, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how does this relate to money, right? Money is also energy. It's energy. So when we understand that money and energy is the same way and it's an even exchange, then we start to realize the importance of I have to return back to my body. And I
Mm-hmm.
noticed one of the things that I've been very privileged to see is that when people return back to taking care of their bodies, not only from the physical level, but also from the emotional level and the mental level, a shift always happens within their brain. They create a new preconception, a new belief that serves them, and then
Mm-hmm.
it manifests from there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we fall into emotion of depression and anxiety, because we truly live a lot within the past or the future, right? So that's usually what it is. So ultimately we need to return back to taking care of our bodies physically
Mm-hmm.
and
And
emotionally.
what's that tapping thing that you said? Are you able to show us, or you have to be in uniform to do it?
No, 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 no. It's so your hands and your feet are very sensitive. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So to reach a ultimate health, one of the things that we teach is one of the principles is water up, fire down. Okay. Usually when you get very hot headed or you feel very hot headed, right? Usually people don't want to be around you. You are either a very
Mm-hmm.
angry, stressful person to be around, and people are like, you know what? Move, right? So to bring balance, we need to bring cool energy here. So how we do that? We need to warm up the energy here in our lower abdomen. So the way we go about doing that is we make fists. So your palms, you have it like this, right? You bring your thumb in and your fingers cover. And
Mm-hmm.
then right here, you find your navel. So your navel is very essential because this is also where your umbilical cord was connected.
Mm-hmm.
So this is where you actually received a lot of the DNA to create this body you carry. So
Mm-hmm.
bring it in, and then you begin to tap your lower abdomen. So what is happening when you tap in your lower abdomen is you are accumulating energy. You're accumulating.
Mm,
And so your mind that was very like scattered everywhere, thinking here, thinking there, starts to come down. So
mhm,
your mind and your brain is two separate things also. Many people think it's the same.
mhm,
It's your
mhm,
brain is an organ, is an actual physical organ right here.
mhm,
Okay. Your mind is maybe right now you're thinking about what you're gonna do before you go to bed.
mhm,
Right? That's your mind. So your mind is like this very fast, energetic energy that's like going here, there, everywhere. So you want to bring your mind back to the body. That's being very practical. That's
mhm,
practical. So you bring your mind and then you start to tap your lower abdomen. So we
mhm,
do that for a few minutes. And then from there, we begin some tapping. When you tap your shoulder, you tap your chest. Sometimes I would just have you just tap one part of your body and just stay there.
mhm,
And then I'll guide you to breathing in and exhaling out and right. Another thing
mhm,
that I show you is how to release tension from your shoulders. So usually we hold a lot of tension here, right?
mhm.
You breathe in, you squeeze, and then you you drop. You can try it if you guys like. You bring it up, you try, and then drop. How does that feel?
Good.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it does.
Right? Just
It
doing that.
does.
Just imagine we training in the classes to like really help you loosen up your body, right?
Mhm,
So many of us are focused a lot of protecting my energy. I have to protect my energy. I have to
mhm,
protect it. When in all actuality, energy is meant to move. Yeah, it's meant to
mhm,
move. So if you are protecting your energy, what you're doing is like you're stopping your breathing. Like, I don't want you to come next to me. I don't want you to touch me. But still, energy is still going to flow through you.
mhm.
So ultimately, the best way of helping you to protect your energy is by giving your body the permission to relax. Yeah.
That's good. That's good stuff. That's good.
Right.
Thank you. Let's under we have two more comments. Fashion. She says the tapping works. You get in tune with self. I gotta try that. I
Yeah.
gotta try that. I gotta take a class with you, Tatiana. I never tried that. Deoxy. Oh, my sister cousin. Virtual hug.
Aw.
I miss her too. Yeah, so I'm so glad you guys are here. And to everyone who's watching right now, use Tatiana and Jamie as a resource. Okay. In the past 10 years that I've been living here, I've made mistakes and I've seen other people make similar mistakes. And the number one thing is our number one, we fail to plan when it comes to our finances. So many people in our community don't even have life insurance, as we know with all this unfortunate COVID deaths that happened last year.
Mhm.
Right, we don't even have life insurance. And me, when I moved to Roatan, I was like, what, 24 years old? And I had some money coming in. I had enough money to start building my house. Ask me what I did with it. Turn up, turn up, turn up every weekend. So now 10 years later is when I'm starting to build my house. But I could have had a house 10 years ago. But I never sat down and made this financial plan. I never, I see all of the richness that we have as far as land and culture is concerned, but I never sat down like with someone like Jamie and like, yo, I'm here living in a country where the living expenses are lower. How can I save this money? How can I invest this money? So my advice to y'all is get in contact with a financial advisor, whether it's somebody like whether it's Jamie or somebody else. And Tatiana, our spiritual connection with money is so real. And this is one thing that we need to understand in our community, that we work hard. We are Garifuna people work hard here and in the US. But we need to stop. We need to stop and think and start fixing the things on the inside of us that have to be fixed first, so we can be able to attract abundance and break those spiritual bondages that we have. So with me, with me, that's like what Tatiana is saying, all these exercises. It's also with me, I became very spiritual. I joined a church over here in Roatan, and I just got really closer to God. And when we start focusing on the spirituality and the healing, everything else just flows afterwards. Like you said, Tati, even after you do this, you just, you could breathe. Once you can breathe, then you can let more things in, right? But if we're always like this and
Mm-hmm.
so worried, and what are you attracting? Nothing,
Mm-hmm.
nothing. So
Yes.
yeah, that's really fashion. Audrey, you sound like me. I was working and spending, living in the moment, and not thinking about the future. Yeah, man, that's the biggest
A lot
mistake
of
that we
us, yeah, a lot of us do
make.
that. You know, it's
Hmm.
just like, let's say we get paid and we still at work and we decide to go to the bar during our lunch hour or after work when we're getting invited. Like a lot of people live like that. And it's all about planning. I feel like the start is, going into your spiritual self, going back into, your ancestry and finding that deep rabbit hole that you need to get yourself out of.
Mm.
Get yourself out of that and start being practical, start being idealistic with what everything that you have in front of you. And then from there, you can create that budget. You can create that plan. If anybody wants to reach out to me, I am available on Instagram as Jarzu underscore JARZU underscore. And I have a network of people that you could work with, even if it's not with me, because I understand a lot of people don't want to talk with their finances with a person that is within their community. Well, guess what? I
Hmm.
have a community of people I work with. So, like, let's literally go back deep into ourselves, find out what we're missing, what we really want to project in our future, and literally let's start planning it out and doing it smart. Getting that that financial literacy that we need to be able to create that systematic wealth, that generational wealth, and leave our legacy. Because to be honest, I want another house in Honduras. Like I want to start planning those things, and I also have a financial advisor too, and that's what helps me keep up with my own habits, because I'm sure that I wouldn't be able to do that or project the same message. I was 24 when I started my own life insurance plan, and I don't even have kids right now. That's for my nieces and nephews, because at the end of the day, if anything happened to me, I know that I grew up watching in the Garifuna household, everybody had to pick up and collect money from each other to pay for a burial. So I don't want that to happen to me, and I want my nieces and nephews to have an education for after whatever expenses that they paid for my funeral. So let's
Yes.
start with that. Something so small is that's there's nothing wrong with that. Let's start creating those habits where, if something happened to me tomorrow, do I have disability insurance? Do I have health insurance? Do I have a retirement plan? And even like I said earlier, like outside also your job, because your job is not, it's not always going to be there. We're not as great of an asset as we think we are to our employer.
Hmm.
We lose our job like that, especially in New York. I've been in New York. A lot of New Yorkers don't stay in the same job for more than 2 or 3 years,
Hmm. Yep.
because they're letting us know, like, we can always replace you for somebody that we can pay less. So
Exactly.
let's start
Exactly.
creating and taking care of ourselves, securing our own wealth, giving back to our community, and making sure that we're establishing something for our future.
Yeah.
Definitely.
One thing I would say is like that does just because we're talking at this time to invest back in your community doesn't mean that you don't have to do your research.
Yeah, of course.
Mm.
So please do your research. This is all about being practical. Okay. Yeah, we want to support our communities. We want to make sure that we giving back to our communities. There's been a major movement, support Black, support this, support that. But we also need to be professional.
Yes.
Mm.
We need to build character, guys. We need to work on our customer service skills. Yes, I'm saying that from my heart to yours. It's so important because even if you meet someone that looks like you, we tend to treat our people, right? Not in the best regards. Okay. So it's very important that you understand that I don't care if the person comes to you looking orange, gray, black, brown. You treat them as a human being that they are, whether they're loud, being disrespectful. I'm sorry, ma'am. Okay, thank you for your business. Thank you for coming and goodbye. And customer service is so crucial for you to thrive in your business. I
Mm-hmm.
see a lot of Garifuna, yes, tapping into entrepreneurship, right? But
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneurship doesn't mean it's for everyone, too.
Exactly. Okay.
Some of us are tapping in there just because we can do it, okay? Or we see someone else doing it and we feel like I can do it too, right? You need to kind of shake your brain. And if you are a worker, I'm a worker. I consider myself a worker. People will say they will call me an entrepreneur, but I consider myself a worker in the sense that I'm here to serve. I'm here to take care of you. And when you do come to me, everything is confidential. I take great pride in holding whatever you tell me to the grave. Okay. That is something would never ever repeat. Doesn't matter if me and you had a downfall or anything, right? And anyway, the way my practice is built, it's built for me to always release, let go.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so
Mm-hmm.
important for people in our community to know that please do your research before you invest on anyone. Know if this person is in alignment with your vision, what you're trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
And if that person is not, send them your best wishes. I love you. Thank you for doing what you're doing, but I'm gonna keep going. And it's okay.
Exactly.
Yes, amen.
That is
Yes.
so important. We have some comments before we end. Frederick Munson said, "Thanks for the help tip, Tatiana."
You're welcome.
The Oxy says a final expense policy can at least cover the cost of a funeral and spare our family members the grief of raising money for a funeral. It can be as low as $25 a
Yes.
month.
Yes.
That is so true.
That's like
Yes.
funerals. That's too
We
death.
spend we spend $25 in one day. So
Exactly. Yes.
it's
Yes.
about priority, right? Like what you were saying, Jamie. It's about
Yeah.
priorities.
It's all about priority, and it's absolutely right. You can do a final death expense like as what they were saying in the comments, and you can also go into other aspects too where you're paying that same price too. I work with a perfect organization where a life insurance policy can start you depending on your age at almost the same price, and you're leaving off,
Wow.
maybe a couple $100,000, to
Wow.
your family just in case of anything. And this is, what they're talking about within the comments is mostly taking care of your burial, which is awesome. That's another part of how we can leave a legacy and make sure that we're taken care of. So these are the type of things that we need to come together and continue to talk about so we can spread that education to everybody else. So we can start putting these things into practice. Because without putting them into practice, we're just stuck in limbo in our same situation and we're not growing. And anyone who decides to come and talk to me is also, be professional with the people that you work with. Definitely do your research. There's a lot of people who are giving out information that are not licensed. Google is your best friend, but you need also somebody that's going to comprehend the information and be, legit and have the actual legal services behind them.
Exactly.
So let's all come together, provide each other that information, and literally do our research with who we are talking to. And just make sure that we're talking to people who are licensed and educated in what they do.
Exactly.
That is so true.
So,
Deoxy says how we treat others who are like us is a reflection of how we really feel about ourselves.
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
yeah,
yes. Couldn't have said it best.
Hey, that
Yes.
is so true. That
yeah.
is so true. That's it, Deoxy. So true, Tatiana. Fashion exo or do I don't know how to say that in New York City. Yeah, well, this has been really good. I am going to put Jamie's contact information in the description box. So basically, the whole point of this is let's keep the conversation and the interest in investing back home because as a person who's been here for 10 years, what I can say is our people need support. We need the support. And if we dig into our connections within the Garifuna community, there are enough powerful people with money, with connections that could take our communities to the next level. So that interest in investing back home, keep it open.
Yes.
And number one. Number two, definitely start with the inner work that has to be done for you to be able to attract everything that you need to put your plan into action. Me personally, I went through some things in at the end of the year last year, and I left the island for a couple of months to get my mind right. And I found I met Tatiana, and we spoke. We had a session. At the same time, I spoke to my pastor, and I also got a business coach. So I did the inner work, and I saw results in 3 weeks. In 3 weeks, you know, and that's where it starts. You know, you take out all of the rubbish inside of your mind, your body, your soul, and then you have room to attract all of the positivity. All of the money can come afterwards. So that's number one. Like, take care of the inner work first. And then number three, like what Jamie said, get yourself somebody who knows, a professional, and create a customized plan for your finances. And sometimes we might think that these things are so far out, or I might have to spend so much money. Some of these people give free consultations.
Yes.
You
That
know?
I love saying that about myself. I love it's just education, like I said, like Google is for free, so why am I charging anybody to talk to them about a financial plan? Like, let me help you bridge that gap to where you want to go. Let me show you the things that you can do with just a little bit of money, if you're saying that's all you have. Like, I don't like to work
Mhm.
outside of anybody's budget because that's uncomfortable to me. Why would I want to work outside my budget to work outside of yours? Like, there's no hope in
Exactly.
that. You're not gonna grow if that's gonna happen.
Exactly.
And that's, like I said, and it all goes back to circulating that wealth. Like circulating that energy, that positive energy, that we all want to do better. Like, I applaud anybody doing better than me and anybody who is standing next to me. And even if you feel like you're behind me, there is nobody behind me. We are all in this together. Like, I love giving back to my community and just providing them that education so we could prosper. Let's think of the Garifuna community as the new Jewish community, as the new, like,
Hey,
everything. Let's
yes.
start having all of these things that we're looking at everybody else and saying that they have. Let's do it within our own selves. Let's create that wealth and continue on, because
Yes.
we can't continue the way we are and how our ancestors lived on. We have to create new. We need to be more innovative, and put it into practice and be idealistic with what we have.
Hmm. That is so true. That is so great. Any final thoughts, ladies?
Yeah, what I would say, just what when Jamie was saying about, like, improving, or just leveling up for our ancestors, you know what I mean? Because believe it or not, ancestors was they were very wise in many, even when they send us to the state, right? They were really intentional when they send us to the state. They really send us to the state to expand, actually. So that was
Hmm.
genius, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes we could place blame and say, oh, well, my mother is like this and that's why I'm like that. But ultimately, it's your stuff now. It's your
Hmm.
stuff, So we cannot continue, although we continue it, right? We can blame our parents even as grown-ups, oh, because of this and because of that. But in all actuality, is we have to do the work. We
Yes.
ultimately, the objective here on earth is to develop ourselves. It's actually more than success. We here to personally develop ourselves, mend some relationships within ourselves that we have heart, we have, we grew, we manifested within ourselves. So all these conditions in your body is a lot to do with how you've been thinking, how
Hmm.
you adapted also different forms of thinking.
Hmm. Hmm.
So it is important to do your work. Like currently, right now, I know that with us, we are offering like a free class. Like you can sign up. You go to Body and Brain / Bronx, and then you can schedule to try one of our classes just to get that experience going. And then you can choose if you want to start small. Start small. You don't have to start big. You don't have to, like
Hmm.
Audrey said, we spend $20, $25 in one day.
Hmm.
Have like unlimited class right now for 99. 99.
Hmm.
Yes, it's through Zoom, but we still connecting. And then we've been trained to connect with you in a different level. So it's not like you taking a class on YouTube. It's a whole different level when you taking our classes because it has a science, it has a practicality structure that we teaching you in opening up
Mhm.
the body and releasing a lot of these emotions. So our ancestors are really like I believe our ancestors are cheering us on to do better,
Yes.
think better, to be better, right? So that's my thought, and that's why I would leave with you guys. Oh, lastly, um, I think I didn't get to finish the reason why those affirmations don't work for adults.
Mhm.
Just to the last part is that the reason why it has a hard time is because of the beliefs that we have that's hard to break. So when we
Mhm.
start to sensitize our body, we need to be honest first. Okay.
Mhm.
I'm angry because of this. So I feel this. So I have this emotion. We have to call out everything that we're feeling first. Then once that disappears and we are now in this light, childlike lightness energy, then we
Mhm.
can substitute those things to I am strong, I am amazing, I am beautiful. Then it
Oh.
works. Yeah. But you do need a professional
Okay.
to guide you to get to that level. So that will either be me, yours truly, or anyone that if you are not in New York and you want to Google body and brain near me, we are all over the states. So you can definitely reach out. Yeah.
Awesome. And since you guys are doing through Zoom, you can be anywhere in the world, really, right
That's
now, right?
yeah.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Cool. So, last comment, Nancy Figueroa. Thank you for encouraging us about financial responsibility.
Yes.
Thank you for watching, Nancy. Thank you.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Yeah, so let's keep this conversation open. I will leave all of our contact info in the description box. So if you're thinking about moving back home and you want to talk to somebody who's done it and still doing it, contact your girl. If you need to do some inner work, get some healing, let go of all those negativity, contact Tatiana. And if you need someone to help you create this customized financial game plan, contact Jamie. And if you don't want to talk to either of us, talk to somebody. Talk to somebody,
Please.
anybody.
Yes, find yourself a licensed advisor, find yourself a licensed practitioner. Literally, just get out there and just put in the work. Be practical with yourself and just love yourself more and more every day, so you can continue on with your day.
Yes.
Awesome. Keep up the good work, ladies from Dioxy. Thank you, Sister
Thank you.
Cousin. All right, ladies, it's been great, awesome. It's been real. Thank you for this. It was very informal and insightful. Frederick Munson. You're welcome, Frederick. Thank you all. This is amazing. Fashion XO or New York City.
Thank
Thank
you.
you guys for
Thank
watching.
you. We
Thank
will
you
be
guys for
coming
watching.
up with more amazing topics and hot topics, I like to say, just to
Yes.
support us. And if you guys have any ideas or something that you feel like the community we need to talk more about, please comment that. Let us know. We love to hear everyone's opinion.
Yes,
Yes.
please give us some feedback. Maybe we can all three do this again. I would love to join you ladies, and thank you again for having me on here.
Yeah.
Awesome. Good night. Buiti Gunyon.
Oh, I'm
Wait, how you say it? Buitigunyo.
very Gunyo.
Yeah.
See, I'm telling you, my Garifuna is I gotta
Next
fix
time we
that.
need to have a live Garifuna language class. We should contact Ruben Reyes, the guy.
Yeah.
He's the one
Let's
who
do
made the
it.
Garifuna dictionary.
Oh, let's do it. Let's do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
We need to also
Okay.
let, what's his name? Uh Garifuna aerobics.
Oh
Oh,
yes, Arnold.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I love his
Yes.
moves.
Me
Yes.
too. Me too. All right, ladies. Good night. Good night,
Good
everyone. Thank you
night.
for watching.
Hello.